Everything is changing right now. Business, the internet, social media, art, coding, attention. What worked last year is already starting to rot. And that's why most business model for 2026 videos feel like reruns. Same advice, same templates, same dopamine thumbnails. I'm not here to sell you recycled strategies with a new time stamp. I'm here to show you the vessel that actually makes sense for the next 2 to 3 years in the future and how you can build it without losing your mind. The problem is you've probably seen the panic posts. Value content is dead. Info products are dead. Coaching is dead. And it's doing what fear always does. It freezes people and makes you think, if everything is dead, then why start? But that's what happens when a new paradigm shows up. There's no instruction manual yet because the manual is being written in real time, but by whoever is willing to test reality instead of arguing online. The one-person business model is evolving. It's always evolving. For the last decade, the one-person business model was simple. Post content, earn attention, sell education, which is courses, coaching, PDF files, ebooks, and that was real. It worked. It worked for a lot of people, and I see that a lot of people, they will sell a lot of courses teaching other people the blueprint of how their proven strategy worked for them. But because one person could run a whole operation, that's the beautiful thing about the web. Marketing, sales, product, delivery, the value wasn't capped by an employer anymore. It was capped only by research, by reach and results. That part still matters. But here's the shift. The format is changing. The old vessel was static, PDF, course, community, but now static feels slow. People don't want a library. They want a system that moves. They don't want information. They want implementation. So this is why info products are This is why people say info products are dying. Info products are dying because info products aren't dead in a literal sense. What's dying is the average one because the baseline has been raised. If a low effort person can generate a mediocre ebook overnight, then the market gets flooded with noise. And when the market gets flooded, buyers get skeptical. Not because learning isn't valuable, because trust is. So what happens? The middle collapses. Only two categories can survive. Beginner bait, cheap, simple, fast, or high trust, high taste systems, deep, specific, lived. If you want to play the long game, you're building the second. High trust, high taste systems, deep, specific, and lived, proven strategies, systems, your own blueprint. So here's part 3. The next education product is a learning experience. Here's the adaptation. The future isn't buy my course. The future is step into my mind and let it train you. Not with motivational quotes, with feedback, with correction, with real output. Old model is watch 10 hours of this. New model is do the thing with a guide that responds. That's why the new product isn't a PDF. It's not even a course. It's a learning machine. A structured experience where someone learns, earns, practices, gets feedback, produces something real. And yes, AI makes all of this possible. Not because AI replaces learning, but because it can bring back something we lost. Apprenticeship. This is something very, very valuable to me. And I think apprenticeship is something in our time, in this era, that is highly needed, and we need to go back to it. So the apprenticeship model should return, and it will return. Before mass education, you didn't study a skill. You stood next to someone who had it. That's beautiful. They corrected your grip. They caught your mistakes in real time. They shaped your taste. Industrial education scaled the lecture model because it was efficient, but efficient doesn't mean effective. Now we can simulate apprenticeship at scale, not perfectly, not magically, but enough to destroy static learning. I told you in my last video, I talked about me going deep into the medical field. And if you are in the medical field, you know that it kind of is a bit of an apprenticeship when you start doing clinic, because you got people who are watching you, and you're watching the people who are before you who are better at you than what you're trying to do. I call around a lot. One of my main goals in the medical field specifically is to become a chiropractor. I have my personal reasons why I want to do that. I will get into it more later on in other videos, but I got into it a little bit in my last video. So if you really want to get deep into that of why I am going to involve in the medical field and why chiropractor is one of the main things I want to do, just watch the last video that I did. But I call, so what I do now is I call a lot of clinics around, chiropractor offices, sport medicine clinic, and I will ask if I can just shadow the chiropractor if they allow like apprenticeship roles or externship roles, internship roles, anything of that matter. And surprisingly, a lot of them actually allow it, and they tell me I can come in sometimes and I can watch a chiropractor. And so I basically now have a huge opportunity to learn under a chiropractor and work at an actual sports medicine clinic as a massage therapist, but also as a chiropractor assistant at a sports medicine clinic. So what I would do is, like, the chiropractor, me and him is trying to work something out where I can see his patients. I can do simple body work on them. I can pretty much like warm the patients up, get their fascia loose, get their muscles loose, and warm, and work on their tendons or joints, whatever, before he goes sees them. Simple things. Before I see them, he will go over their report with me and tell me what to do, what to focus on, and I would do that. And before they see them, I would do that with them before they see him. So that's pretty much almost like an apprenticeship role. It's like an intern or externship, whatever you want to call it, but it's an opportunity for me to learn under a doctor before I even go to the actual school and learn. So that's just something that that's something that I think that needs to come back in all industries, in all of business, because what really makes us better as human beings is the fact that we get to literally not just sit down and just go to class and go to school and get tested, is that we actually are experiencing real world problems, and we are figuring out how to overcome those problems through somebody who's actually watching us and telling us and being critical of us and directing our taste of exactly how to do it. That's a beautiful thing, and it's coming back, and it needs to come back, and it needs to stay. Here's the simplest blueprint. You take what you would have been your course and you turn it into a knowledge base. Your frameworks, your steps, your examples, your rules, everything. Then you build a simple interface with 3 zones. You learn guided lessons that ask questions, adapt, and teach based on where the person is. You practice exercises that force output and provide corrective feedback. Build a structured path that produces a finished result. This is not AI that does it for them. This is AI that trains them while they do it. That's the difference between a toy and a product people keep. So if you think building on AI is cheating, then everything is cheating. Every product is a wrapper around something. Websites wrap code, apps wrap servers, courses wrap ideas, communities wrap incentives. The question isn't, is it a wrapper? The question is it a better outcome for the user? Does it save time? Does it create real output? Does it feel like guidance instead of consumption? So here's your real advantage. Your advantage isn't doing what others can't do. That's a losing game. Your advantage is building what only you would think to build, because your combination of interests, scars, obsession, taste, and worldview, in worldview creates prompts other people would never type, and products other people would never design. Most people will copy surfaces. Few people can copy depth. That's the whole game now. Depth, taste, specificity. So no, the creator path isn't dead. The lazy version is. If you want to survive the next wave, Stop selling static information. Build a living system. Build a learning machine. Build the thing you wish existed when you were the beginner. That's the whole point. And if you're serious about that, you're not behind. You're early. Thanks so much for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And if you want more, tune in next week. Deuces.